and had brought this to the Board of Governance on October 19th of last year to seek approval to allocate the funding for a program to serve seniors. However, subsequent to receiving the award, the state clarified that the funding must be used to support all households. So consequently, this funding is going to be, or we're recommending that this funding be made available to all eligible persons through the coordinated entry system. So our recommendation is to approve the reprogramming of the $200,000 in the homelessness prevention funding from seniors to all eligible persons through the coordinated entry system.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Emma. I will open it up to the board for any questions or comments. There being none, is there any member of the, Karen.
I'm sorry, I probably missed it. Is it one organization that's going to do it? Can you clarify?
So it'll remain with Housing and Workforce Solutions, and we will be screening individuals through the coordinated entry system.
Awesome.
Although, thank you for asking that because you prompted my memory here. I did want to mention that you may or may not recall we had notified the Board of Governance that our department was going to be conducting technical assistance sessions for organizations within our continuum of care. We did hold 3 months worth of technical assistance opportunities for organizations. We had a number of continuum of care organizations apply for the funding. His daughter's house was also awarded $200,000 for the same programming, homelessness prevention. So that brings a total of $400,000 into Riverside County that's available for families. This funding does have to be spent by August 7th. So we have a small window of opportunity, but it's exciting because we already have persons that have reached out that are eligible to receive this assistance, and it makes such a difference to a family to be able to stay in their housing and have this available for us to assist them with.
Very good, thank you. Do you have any other questions? Any other board member that has any questions or comments? Okay, I will turn it over to Mariel. Do we have any member of the public that would like to speak on this item?
I'm seeing none in the chat.
Okay, so there is a recommended motion that reads to approve the reprogramming of $200,000 in emergency solutions grant homeless prevention funds from seniors to all eligible persons through the coordinated entry system. Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Is there any noes? Any abstentions? There being none, it passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda is new business, Department of Veteran Services HH allocation. Ms. Walker, turn it over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I just want to give you a little bit of background regarding this allocation. On June 16th of 2022, the BOG approved for our HAP Round 3 allocation funding plan to allocate $250,000 to service coordination. So funding under this category can be used to increase access to workforce, education, and training programs, as well as other services to promote housing stability. The period of performance for this program is through June 30th of 2026, and the current data on veteran homelessness in our region recognizes the increase in the number of veterans who have been identified homeless as 256 veterans in our region. So staff is recommending a portion of the funding in the amount of $170,000 for approximately $170,000 to be allocated to support a veteran homeless coordinator through the Riverside County's Veteran Services Department, who will serve as the lead designee for strengthening assistance response to addressing veteran homelessness. So under this role, the coordinator will be responsible for working alongside our CES system, the VA, Loma Linda, Lighthouse Social Services, and US Vets to coordinate a response to fast-track homeless veterans to housing and services. This model of care mirrors local efforts which have proven to be successful for homeless families, seniors, and transitional age youth. Additionally, in January of 2017, Riverside County achieved a significant milestone by becoming the first large community in the nation to achieve functioning zero through our Valor initiative. And I remember that so vividly because it was recognized nationally. So demonstrating its ongoing dedication to eradicating veteran homelessness, the county now aims to reintroduce the Valor Initiative and regain its functioning zero for veteran homelessness through our Valor 2.0. The Homeless Veterans Coordinator will be responsible for championing this effort. So staff is recommending to approve the funding recommendation of HAP3 service coordination allocation of $466,000 to County of Riverside Department of Veteran Services to lead the Valor 2.0 initiative.
Don't forget the 25 cents.
And 25 cents.
Karen.
Woo, I'm super excited about this. I just want to commend you guys for making such an awesome recommendation. And as far as a moment of reflection, we think about the amazing progress that you all have made in partnering, just as an example, with another county department with Adult Protective Services, and how your investment has made such a difference for frail seniors that are homeless. And so to see this type of partnership with another county department is phenomenal. And I think that this Board of Governance and the community can rest assured that the resources are going to be massively leveraged, because they do have claims specialists that advocate on behalf of veterans and homeless veterans. So they'll be able to get them where they've been fighting with the VA for years and can't get reimbursed for compensation and disability. Imagine the opportunities to access those veteran services and get them off of the streets and with VASH vouchers. I'm super excited. I just want to say I wholeheartedly support it and want to congratulate you guys for being so creative.
Yes, congratulations on achieving that milestone. Any other board member? Linda.
I have a little bit different take on it. That portion of the population is small compared to those that are homeless and on the street. They also have great support from veterans, Loma Linda. So I don't quite understand why they would receive over half of the funds available for this small portion. They also have a lot of access to the VASH vouchers and a lot of different things. So I find that kind of disproportional. I'm sorry, I love vets, but I just am wondering why that barrier has been set up to that money that could be spent across the board equally with vets included. I don't know if I'm out of line, but it's just my thoughts.
Tanya?
I'm happy to step in. Tanya Torno, Deputy Director with Riverside County's Housing and Workforce Solutions Department. Linda, I think your comments are valid, and you're absolutely right in the sense that when veterans typically look for assistance, they are going to VA Loma Linda. But geographically, that is a challenge for veterans who are experiencing homelessness in Riverside County, especially those that are, if you think about that, are in the Coachella or southwest region of the county, or even going farther east of western Riverside. Usually transportation serves as a significant barrier for them to be able to go to a San Bernardino location to access those services. So what I would emphasize is this is a one-time investment that we're asking for, an opportunity for us to pilot and identify a lead coordinator in our region who has multiple offices in the Southwest and Riverside and in the Coachella Valley, where veterans and also providers like US Vets and Lighthouse and all of our street outreach teams who, as they come across veterans, will be able to take them to a local location here in our region where they can be screened for services. So I would, again, just highly emphasize that transportation is the biggest barrier. This is an opportunity in many ways for us to streamline that process. And also, I think part of what made us really successful during the Valor initiative was that we utilized then SSVF resources. I think Karen Younglow was like the main lead coordinator in our region with some other leaders who really took the lead on making sure that veteran teams were meeting. They were case conferencing cases as veterans were identified and following them through to housing. And in all reality, since we've reached that functional zero status, we haven't really regrouped like that again. And so our hope is to recreate that momentum that existed then so we can once again regain the status. I will also share that the Director of County Veteran Services, Greg Kofo, stepped into the role about a year ago now, but he has extensive experience in housing and homelessness. He used to work for US Vets and Step Up on Second. So this is, you know, he is among you and many of our frontline workers who have done this work and understands the specific needs of this population.
So my concern, again, I was around when we hit functional zero and did not do a good job staying there because of the number of vets that we now have that are on the streets, which are causing concern. But again, they are a small percentage of the total number of homeless that are on the street, and it really reduces drastically the amount of funds available for everyone. And, you know, we're always talking about barriers. Well, we're taking down one and throwing up others in my mind. The other piece is that I know that US Vets and Lighthouse do a great job when called upon to come and work with the clients, and that's what they're funded for. You know, so that's kind of my concern, is taking down barriers for all, and to it's disproportionate in my mind where the funding's going. So that's just my thought.
Is there other board members that have comments on Council Member Edwards? And then next, Angelina.
Thank you, Linda. I think you raised some really great points, and it's helpful to understand more about the context of the ask before us today as well. And so I think to your recent point about reaching functional zero and then in 2017 and then seeing an increase again in the number of veterans on the street, I wondered if we could hear some of the data from our PIC counts since then about the increase in the number of veterans on the street. And then I have other comments, very brief ones right after that.
Sure. And I do see that Karen Younglow with Lighthouse Social Services is here. Karen, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I know that, again, you were an instrumental leader during Valor, our first time at Valor, and your team is on the ground alongside US Vets and many of our other organizations, as Linda shared, Martha's Village and others who are serving. So please, by all means, feel free to chime in. In regards to data surrounding veteran homelessness, I will lead with the point in time count, but also remind the board, remind our participants that are on the call today that do the work that we have found that the number of people who are actually experiencing homelessness when we look at our HMIS data is 4 to 5 times greater. During our last 2023, oh, now I get to see myself on screen, great. Hi, everybody. During our last point in time count, we identified 256 homeless veterans, many, the majority of those being unsheltered. This was a 31% increase from the previous year. So from our perspective, this is a big increase. And when we look at other models, as Karen mentioned, such as our attempts to onboard, our successful attempts in onboarding a homeless youth coordinator, we saw a 27% decrease in youth homelessness because the last 3 years we have really been intensifying our efforts and building a system of care and making sure that as providers find youth that they're able to plug them into services that they need immediately. So 31% increase from the last previous year. But again, I know 256 does not sound a lot. I would definitely encourage us, based on our HMIS data, to multiply that number by 4.
Oh, I really appreciate the understanding the 31% increase. It shows how important it is to, even when we have a success, to not take our eye off the ball and continue to put resources there, and understanding that there are so many populations that we need to focus on to be able to reach functional zero in the first place. As I look at the recommendation before us, it seems to me that the funding is through June 30th of 2026, which I don't know about the rest of you. It seems like almost tomorrow, even though it sounds like it could be far away. Is there a plan to continue this position after 2026, or are we thinking this would be a focus just for the next 2 years, which would then free up funding to prioritize other target populations?
So we definitely want to emphasize that the recommendation today is that this would be like a one-time funding for the next 2 years. And like everything else, we would come back to the board, would come back to the continuum of care to present to you, the performance of this project, and hopefully we'll have a great story to tell, as we've had with our progress on serving homeless youth. In regards to future fundings, we do have future rounds of HAP, round 4 and round 5, that could be set aside to continue this program if we decide that it works well. I would also, since we're talking about HAP, also just remind us that we're waiting on the governor's May revise and final announcement on the budget to see if there will be an inclusion of round 6. But at least we know that we have 2 additional rounds that could support this position for an additional 3 to 4 years.
Or that could support a position for a different target population after the HAP 3 funding is used. So for me, I'm supportive of the recommendation before us today, knowing that it's one-time funding and reprioritizing work that we have already come so far in. But then, to Linda's great point, would want to know what is the next population that we would need to prioritize, and would love to hear Linda's thoughts on what that would be.
Thank you. Angelina, and then Linda?
Mhm.
I think Linda and I are feeling the same query.
Mhm.
I mean, that is a lot of money. That's a substantial portion of the funding for a position that is being done by the agencies already, because they have designated staff to do those things. I know transportation is a huge issue. I still don't see how, and maybe it's just been a long month, or I'm being short-sighted. I don't see how this coordinator will alleviate that transportation issue. To me, it's adding additional steps, because now you have multiple sites that need to be staffed, that need to be vetted into making sure they're providing the assistance, especially in the Coachella Valley, North Shore, Blythe, parts of Jurupa, the areas where access is limited and transportation is a barrier. I'm not seeing how that is addressing those issues. It is a position to coordinate, and I get it. It's the person that everyone's going to go to, and they're going to make sure this happens. But how is that other stuff going to get funded? How is that other steps, other processes going to work, when I know how I work with Karen Young Low a lot, and their outreach is hard. And transporting and having someone go from Murrieta to, let's say, Palm Springs is difficult, especially when they have their items and their services and things along those lines, and one person can't transport everybody. One caseworker can't do that. One coordinator can't oversee everything if those positions don't already exist. So where's the funding for those positions? Is the burden going to fall on the service providers to now answer to yet another person on top of who they're already answering to? And then if this position is a coordinator that's funded for 2 years, what is the contingency plan? You know, you reach functional zero and now we're not there. So how do you keep that going? How do you sustain, if this is the plan, if this is the best scenario that we can come up with, what is the plan after this funding? Shouldn't we keep a coordinator of this extent beyond that to continue the efforts and then maybe expand? Okay, you've read functional zero with US vets. Now let's work with chronically homeless or with domestic violence victims or with whomever the next populace is that we're going to target as the populace we need to get to functional zero. And again,
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it back over to Tanya to respond to it, or if you want to designate another person to respond.
Tanya, Greg would like to comment. He's on virtually.
So after Tanya, then I'll turn it back over to Linda. Did you want to speak, Karen? And then Karen, and then Tanya, the person online, okay? So that's the order. Tanya first.
If you're okay, Greg is on the line. Where Greg Rodriguez. Greg, go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry. I just want to emphasize that we've actually invested well over $100 million in the last 3 years on homeless and housing services for senior populations, for the chronically homeless through the RIVCO 100 program. We're launching a very aggressive senior population homeless incentive, and we really haven't targeted any extra money to actually specifically to veterans. I think it's important to note that over 10% of our homeless population in Riverside County are veterans. And we really do need to have a position like this. It isn't just about transportation. We're having a lot of difficulties with approvals and working relationships and benefits through the VA. And this position will actually help to bridge that gap between the VA and allow our veterans to actually get vouchers in a quicker way as we're working with HUD and the VA at the national level to do this. So in the scheme of things, this may sound like a lot of money, but if you look at the significant, again, over $100 million, and actually if you look at rental assistance and other forms of infrastructure development and housing dollars, the county is well over $300 million investments in the last 3 years. And so to me, this is just a critical point in actually getting us back to functional zero. You know, we're also targeting through YDAP, I'm sorry, in an airport, we're also targeting through YDAP the youth thing. So we are doing other populations, and part of my job on an ongoing basis to make sure that we have sustainability for programs like this, and I will commit to make sure that we can continue this position going forward. So, thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, back to Linda, followed by Karen.
I'm just a proponent of you have fast-tracked individuals, such as seniors, right? Did they have a coordinator? They had
Adult services.
that was funded through,
Through the continuum of care, and we leveraged county funds as well.
okay. And there is transportation for vets. We know that. They just sign up for the van, and that takes them up to Loma Linda. So that transportation piece is there, and that's usually coordinated by the agency that's working with them. You know, and my question is, again, we were at functional zero. What happened? You know, were the agencies themselves, and I mean all agencies, trained in how to work with veterans? Is this a better approach that when they're in front of you, that you can work with them instead of reaching out to a coordinator or reaching out to others? You know, we have to learn. Sometimes I think technical assistance is a good thing when you train the agencies how to work specifically. Do they understand the paperwork that's needed for this person to secure their vet benefits? And many times, guys, people can be vets, but they're not eligible vets because of the way that they were dismissed from the military. This also comes into play. Are all 200 of these folks eligible Do we know that? Or half of them were discharged in a way that was not the best, and they're not eligible? And then what do you do? Then they fall back into that group of the whole that needs to be served, which is kind of my concern. And as far as the time period, others wait until this particular function is over with, you know, and what happens when the function is over with, and let's say hopefully we're at 0 for vets, but we turned our back or went in another direction. I'm not sure what happened. And look where we are. And now it's a concern again. Effort was put in. Something happened where people didn't understand what to do, because there was a great working relationship. I remember it when it came down from HUD for the functional 0. And it was a big celebration. But what happened, guys? So now we're going to come in and bring in one person. Is this one person going to give technical assistance to the agencies that are face to face with those individuals that they're solving their homelessness? You know, do we do something that's continuing and doesn't end? This is kind of, you know, I just feel like there's got to be a plan for that as well. But I think there needs to be a plan in all areas. Some populations are very specific to their needs, very specific to what's available to them in the way of housing. And agencies need to know how to work, or even be aware to start with, and how to work specifically and have a point person within those agencies that can handle that.
Thank you. Linda, before I turn it over to Karen, I'm going to ask Tanya, did you have some comments or responses to Linda's?
I think what I would just emphasize is that we support whatever recommendation the Board of Governance ultimately makes. So know that our recommendation is, of course, not only based on data, but also past experience and what we know to be working now. We have adult services serving seniors, and they have been the lead coordinator in really helping us build out a system of care that I think ensures that all providers across our region know if they come across a homeless senior today, they know who to call. The same can be said with our homeless youth coordinator, who has been in this role now for 3 years. We're getting an award, being recognized across the state on April 9th. That was going to be an announcement I was going to make, because she has basically replicated the same effort. She is the lead point person, working alongside other providers to ensure that as homeless youth are identified, we know how to navigate them through the system. So I would just say that this is not new in regards to, because I think that's a very valid question, Linda, like why has veteran homelessness gone up? I think we have to face the reality that homelessness has gone up across our region because of major housing shortages, because a lot of veterans, even though they're service connected, because of the trauma that they have endured, the challenges that they face during wartime, oftentimes are still struggling with mental health and substance use, and that too often interferes with their ability to maintain housing. So they need those supportive services. So there's a lot of different reasons why veteran homelessness has increased. And I do think I know it's important to you, as it is important to us, as it is important to our County Board of Supervisors, that we regroup, Linda, to your point, and that we look at how can we once again regain the status. So at the end of the day, we support what the Board of Governance decides to do, and just know that we remain committed to this cause regardless. Thank you.
Thank you. Karen?
So first of all, ladies, thank you so much for the extremely important comments. I just want to give some perspective. I do have experience. I oversaw that County Veteran Service Office in Orange County, and saw so many veterans falling through the cracks in a county that is not even as big as this county. We have a large county, 7,303 square miles. From VSOs, the unique thing about them is they're staffed by veterans, and they are very successful in helping veterans secure resources that where they've otherwise not been successful through the VA. And I'm not trying to criticize the VA, but it is a very difficult process. They also, and we can ask our Riverside VSO, have outstations throughout the region where they take their qualified claim specialists to different places to try to address so it's not so centralized, forcing people to go to one central location. So I just have experience seeing huge success with that local office doing the work with the veterans. I think one of the things that we might want to entertain as a board, they are good at collaborating with multiple agencies. If this is like seed money, maybe we want to talk about some kind of a caveat about looking to build on opportunities for future grants or other local funding to make sure that this is sustainable in the future. So that could be one amended motion that this board could make about, that's an expectation for funding the position. And then maybe even just some of the dollar value, because I know they will leverage the resources with the support from the vets. And Linda, you brought up a point, you can have veterans that are dishonorably, other than honorable, and honorably discharged. And so the dishonorables, they do end up not being able to access a lot of resources, but they're still a veteran. And we deserve to give them support for what they did for our country. So I feel very passionate about it. I'm not saying veterans are more important than the rest of the other population. I just want you to know it just from my personal experience and seeing the great value. So thank you.
Any other board member have any questions or comments?
Want to say, it's
Okay,
not
Angelina, I will recognize you. Go
sorry,
ahead.
apologize. It's not that I don't think it's a good idea. It needs to be more than just, here's the funding for these 2 years, here's a position that we're creating, this is what they're going to do, and then in 2 years come back and say, well, the funding's gone, it's going really great, we've done X, Y, Z, and now what? That is my concern. We historically have done that, and let's be proactive instead of reactive, and then address the other concern of the other populaces that we are required to support as a continuum, as service providers coming together to represent everyone and be a voice for the underserved. That's all I wanted to say. And
Thank you, Angelina.
recognizing me.
Yes, let me finish with comments, and then I still have to have the public weigh in. Linda.
Is there any way that we could get technical assistance for for agencies to know truly how to handle vets?
Yes,
Not a superficial one.
we can include that.
Some are good and some are not good. I just leave you with that thought. But if we could have something continuing like that, I think that would be helpful. Again, they represent less than 10% of the population. My concern is about the other 90 plus that this funding will not be available to. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had people that had the ability and the knowledge to understand all populations and be able to move them forward? And that is the nonprofits and the agencies, and they need that information and those skills. That's how it will be broader, wider, and we will see more of a positive outcome.
Thank you, Linda. Tanya, did you want to speak on?
Yes, thank you. I just to highlight that we have multidisciplinary webinars on addressing homelessness that are coordinated every other month and create a space for just that, Linda, which you described, where we have providers come in and share on best practices. And I think to your point, we can definitely ensure that in the upcoming year, the upcoming 2 years, as we, if the board decides to move forward with this effort, of course, that we have a hyper focus on making sure that we're building on our veteran systems of care, but also ensuring that right? It's clear. There's a clear message because I feel very confident and proud to say that in Riverside County, we have created a strong system of care that ensures access for all. And I think we can, we'll make sure to continue to make those trainings available. We won't slow down on our progress. If anything, we'll speed those up. The other comment I just wanted to make, just to bring greater context, is the funding that's being requested here is 6% of the total HAP allocation. So just to bring some perspective, it is a lot of money. In total, we get 4.2, or the continuum of care receives 4.2 in HAP, and this set aside would be 6% of that.
Thank you, Tanya. Mariel, do we have any member of the public that would like to speak?
Yes, right now we have Karen Younglow, and previously Oscar Ramirez also had his hand up.
We'll start with Karen and then go to Oscar next. Karen?
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing me to make a comment, and I will make it very brief because both Tanya and Karen Roper said many of the things that I was going to mention, so I certainly appreciate their comments, and I am definitely as a member of the service provider community, supportive of this recommendation. But I will also say that I very much understand Linda and Angelina's concern. Lighthouse, we serve veterans, but we also serve several other populations. So I do very much understand what they are saying. The two comments that I did want to make is, and I think that Karen Roper made this, I would hope that if we do decide to fund this position, that there would be someone looking at our veteran who are dishonorably discharged, because we really do need to focus some of our services that we're not able to focus through the VA and other service providers on that particular population. I'd also just like to mention kind of what Greg was saying, is that the SSVF program brings quite a lot of funding into our county. And one thing that SSVF definitely wants to see is the coordination of services. And so I also think that in order to support our continued funding for SSVF coming into our county, I think that this would be a really great thing for us to be able to highlight and be able to really talk about the ways in which we are really coordinating those services with this particular position. So that's another reason why I think that this is a good recommendation. And then finally, regarding transportation, that is a huge issue with our veterans. And even though the VA does provide, and they have folks that help with DAV transportation, it is challenging to get that transportation coordinated for our veterans. So oftentimes our service providers are having to do a lot of transportation, especially when we're taking folks from, the Coachella Valley into Loma Linda and to see other services that are in that area. So in terms of anything that can be done in terms of transportation for our veteran, I think would also be very helpful. So thank you so much for allowing me to make those comments.
Thank you, Karen. Oscar.
All right, good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. First of all, I want to thank whoever thought about creating this position or funding a position like this, because I think from the VA standpoint, it's very important for us, for the VA to align our goals with the counties and just the overall effort in reducing veteran homelessness. So I wasn't prepared to make comments, but I feel like I should, because I've been in this position as a coordinated entry representative for the VA since 2018. So I know the work that was put into reaching the functional zero in 2017. The work has continued. I just want to give a shout out to all the organizations out there that meet with us every Tuesday for the last, since 2018, to help our veterans get housed as quickly as possible and get all the resources that are available to them. But I'm gonna say this because I think it should be said. Our efforts have not reduced since 2017. I can tell you that the Housing Authority, U.S. Vets, Lighthouse, they're all given 100% of their time every time that I contact them with a veteran need. So I don't think uh, looking at it like what happened, I think we haven't stopped our efforts, to be honest. So I think part of that was COVID, of course, where we did have a tight-knit group in 2018, 2019. COVID happened, and then we just kind of lost track a little bit of our focus. But back to why I think this position is important, because we do need somebody that can meet with us every Tuesday and kind of give us the data that's presented here and other data that we're not privy to in terms of what the county is trying to do. So I think it would be very important, if not funded or approved today, that somehow an agency would basically nominate somebody to do something like this, because I think it's important to kind of keep us together working towards helping our veterans.
Thank you,
I
Oscar.
think there's more to say, but like I said, I wasn't prepared to make comments today, and I just don't want to ramble on. But I do believe that this position is very important, and the efforts that we're trying to do for our veterans. And again, I just want to reiterate and thank everybody who thought about putting this position together. And lastly, to again thank all the organizations that help us day in and day out take care of our veterans, because you guys have been there since I've been here, and your efforts have always been 100%. So I can't tell you what went wrong, but I can tell you that a position like this would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very well said. Mariel, do we have any other member of the public that would like to make a comment?
Yes, we have Greg Kafos on the call.
Okay, Greg, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the time. Yeah, I just want to say that, this position really represents a catalyzing event to address a much larger need that we have with the veterans community, right? And again, yeah, it's not to dismiss any other population, as everybody in this county is just as important as everyone else. But we have an opportunity here to address something and get a win, right? And the veteran community right now, the homeless population, it's not large in size, right? In stature, it's something that we can handle in the immediacy, and we can get a win for our county. We can establish something that we could scale up to other populations, and I think this collaborative effort is needed. It's necessary, and I think again, we have this opportunity here. It's going to be a chain. It's going to be a link in the chain that's going to connect everyone else to everyone else, and there will be technical assistance. There will be collaborative trainings. There will be all sorts of things that come along with this. And while the focus is, yes, entirely on veterans, again, this could establish some practices that we could put in place to scale to other populations of need. And we just do it on a smaller scale for a smaller population that we currently have in our county. And so I think it's obviously I'm the director of Veteran Services, so of course I'm going to think it's very important, but I think it's just important in general to establish an integrated support services model throughout the county that we can pilot here. And so I really hope and that we can all kind of see the benefits of these things. This also affords us time as a department. I just got into the department back in September, and we have big plans and big visions for this department to expand services. But this position specifically affords us time. So if this is funded, then we have time to seek out new grants, new opportunities to fund this continuously. And I'm very confident in our ability to do this and to get more funding in here to not only just expand this position out longer, but to expand services in general and give us more positions to do even more impact and have more technical trainings and more supportive services to communities out here. And so, yeah, I hope we can look at this for what it is. It's a relatively small drop in the bucket to the totality of what our funding is here in the county. But it's going to have a big impact on the county at whole.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Greg. Any other comments from the public?
No other
Okay,
comments.
so I will entertain a motion from the board.
I'd like to propose an amended motion
Yes, please.
to support the recommended action with the caveat that the Veteran Service Office, in collaboration with other partners, would look to be very proactive to secure other funds for sustainability of a very important initiative.
Is there a second to the motion? proposed?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any other comments?
Does the motion include approval for the allocation? Okay.
So everybody understand the motion?
Mhm.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any noes? Any abstentions? It passes unanimously. Thank you. We will move on to the next item, which is 5.2, the 2023 Emergency Solutions Grant and HAP County Rapid Rehousing. I'll turn it over to Amy.
Good morning, Board of Governance members. My name's Amy Primrose Puente. I'm a Senior Program Specialist with Housing and Workforce Solutions. I'm here to speak to you about agenda item number 5.2 concerning 2023 ESG funding recommendations. On November 21st, 2023, the County of Riverside CoC was awarded $299,499 through the California Department of Housing and Community Development's Emergency Solution Grant. Some background on this 2023 ESG funding. Excuse me. The activities were initially awarded to fund both street outreach and rapid rehousing. However, due to the significant investments made by our county's managed care plans through the Housing Homelessness Incentive Program, HIP, our street outreach program is fully funded. So we went to the Board of Governance and requested that we reallocate those activities to all of rapid rehousing. So, and the board approved so now all of the full award, 299,499 will go towards rapid rehousing. And that request was approved on February 15th. So we're going to utilize the full award, and we released an invitation to bid for the ESG award in conjunction with $237,712.30 of HAP3 county funds, with a total amount of $529,994.30 of funding available under this invitation to bid for rapid rehousing services. The ITB was released on February 9th and concluded on February 28th, garnering a total of 10 proposals received. Following a thorough evaluation process, HWS determined that out of those 10 proposals, Coachella Valley Rescue Mission and CityNet combined possess the capabilities to provide rapid rehousing services across all 5 districts of our county. And based on our evaluations, Housing and Workforce Solutions recommends awarding $349,796.30 to CityNet for rapid rehousing services in districts 1, 2, 3, and 5, and awarding $180,198 to Coachella Valley Rescue Mission to provide rapid rehousing services in District 4. These recommendations reflect our commitment to efficiently and effectively utilize our available resources to address homelessness and housing instability in our community. And I want to thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Amy. I will open it up to the board for questions or comments. Mariel, do we have any member of the public? I'll come back to you then. I'll come back to you. Oh, okay. Okay. You know what? Let me go back to the board, okay? I was too quick to move.
Good morning. One of the reasons I agreed to sit on this board was because I wanted to represent
the smaller agencies, the folks that are out there struggling and do not have paid grant writers. And we're trying to just keep our work afloat. And it's been very frustrating recently because we applied for this grant, Faith in Action, and it was determined that we were ineligible. And the reason we were given was a couple things, and I'm sure they're all.
Excuse me, Carol, I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. Because of you applying for the grant, I believe there is a conflict there. So,
Okay, I can't say anything.
no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, thank you. Do we have any member of the public? Do we have any member of the board that would like to make any comments? Oh, Karen, did you apply for this grant?
No.
Okay, then you can comment.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I wanted to compliment the agencies as well as staff. I love this display to be able to show that the funds, it's like a net across the entire county, so every single district. And I really wanted to compliment you guys on showing the percentages of the total, but especially the relationship with the pit count in those particular districts. It's really nice to see how the funds are being targeted very specifically to address the unmet needs. So keep up the good work. I love it.
Very good. Is there any, Council Member Edwards?
Thank you. Since the entities that are being recommended today would have submitted a proposal, I wondered if you could share more about what they had recommended in their proposal they would be doing under rapid rehousing.
Yes, thank you. So out of the 10, what our aim was in the evaluation process was full county coverage to meet the housing needs of our county. And out of the 10 proposals, each proposal were proposing to serve a small area. And the CityNet's proposal and CVRM's proposal, let's see, the CityNet is proposed to serve districts 1, 2, 3, and 5. And then CVRM proposed to serve District 4. With a total amount, for 40 to 50 households combined.
If I can add to that, I think what I would share is that this is a very small amount of funding. If we could have applied for more, we would have. It's $300,000 that the continuum of care has. And what I would definitely like to do at our April meeting, so Mariela, if you can help me, because I think it'd be really good at our regular meeting to provide the board with a snapshot of all of our investments so you can see how many dollars we have invested in rapid rehousing. Rapid rehousing, again, is to serve people who are experiencing homelessness on the streets today and to help them regain housing. So we're using those dollars to pay towards case management staff that will provide financial assistance towards security deposits and rental assistance for a period of up to 12 months. And just last year, I want to say during summertime, don't quote me on it, but it was definitely during a month in the summer, we released a larger RFP that included over $1 million to support projects to provide this same type of assistance. Those dollars were spread across many organizations, many nonprofits, smaller organizations, which included his daughter's house, Faith in Action, who we've really been working on to build capacity. So while I know that because the federal and state like to give us these pockets of funding, I want you guys to know that this board and our staff under the direction of the board has really been looking at these dollars as like one big sum. So these agencies will be working alongside the other agencies that received a portion of upwards of $1 million. And we'll make sure during the April meeting to give you a full breakout, because I think that would be helpful. So you guys can see how we're making sure that we're reaching all of the regions and we're doing it in an equitable way, to Karen's point about the chart, but that also we're building capacity to support newer and younger organizations. We want everybody at the table.
Board members, questions, comments? Mariel, do we have any member of the public?
No, none.
So we have no questions from the public. Is there a motion proposed?
As stated.
The recommended motion? Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the recommended motion. Is there a second? We have a second down the far end. Very good. We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any noes? Any abstentions? Carol will abstain. We have one abstention and the rest yeses. It passes. Okay, next. Well, first of all, I want to make a comment now that the action has been taken. I just want to also applaud the county for looking at the numbers, the need, and looking for organizations that had the capacity and building up other organizations to reach the capacity. So thank you. Okay, the next we will move on to announcements. We have announcements. We'll start off with staff announcements and then we'll go to board announcements, okay? Tanya?
Sure. So I wanted to give you guys an update on the chair nominations. We've been emailing you and you have responded. And I want to share that we received a total of 4 nominations for the chair positions. 2 of the nominees accepted that nomination and would begin their first term of service in April. So again, this is to I hate to use the word replace. You guys will have to help me find something better, but essentially they will step into the former role that Dr. Chang had as chair. Dr. Lee Johnson is nodding, so I think I did a good job with my word replacement there. And Leticia's vice chair position, which she holds now. So for the chair nomination, we want to congratulate Leticia, who again has served on the Board of Governance for far longer than I have been with the Continuum of Care. So congratulations, Leticia.
Yay.
And then for Vice Chair, Dr. Ben Haregui, who is not here, but has been a member of this board in the Continuum of Care for a very, very long time. So congratulations, and again, we'll be doing the switch. The other,
Oh, can I just say something?
Yes.
I actually nominated somebody else for both, but but I understand that everybody is very busy, and I will accept the nomination, and we'll see whether you actually vote for me. Since I'm the only one on the ballot, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. The other announcement I wanted to make is that we've been putting together homeless symposiums in each supervisorial district. I shared during the last meeting that we had one in the 4th district, and it looks like we've had participation from one of our members here today, in addition to some of our board members. About 2 weeks ago, we held our 2nd district homeless symposium, which, like the 4th district, was such a great success, was so well attended. And I just want to thank our Continuum of Care members for showing up. We had over 200 people attend the 4th district symposium, and then over 100 attend the 2nd district symposium. And we're getting ready to host our 5th district symposium on May 2nd. So a flyer with the save the date information will be going out shortly. That will include our cities in the Pass area, Banning and Beaumont. So we can't wait to hear all about what Faith in Action and other providers in that region are doing. In addition to Hemet and San Jacinto, Robin Gilland will kill me if I don't recognize those cities as well. So great need there. And as we plan these, I believe the 3rd district will follow, then the 1st. So we'll keep you updated. But I just want to recognize that not only has there been great attendance, but what a great acknowledgement that in Riverside County, the vast majorities of our cities are contributing funding towards homelessness. And Linda, you can speak to this, Angelina can speak to this, who have done this work. There was a time where the county and nonprofits who were engaged in this work were expected to really do the work on their own. And I think, I will share that at the 4th District Symposium, every single city in the Coachella Valley has either a homeless coordinator, they have street outreach teams, they're using their own general funds to support the cause. In the 2nd District, I will say that there was only one city that stood up and recognized and said, hey, we need to get our stuff together. That was their presentation on the mic. And so we'll be reaching out to that city. So what a great story to tell. And I just want you guys to know that coming back from the National Alliance Conference, Greg, Emma, and some of our behavioral health partners, Monique, and others were able to attend. Riverside County is being recognized. Greg always comes to these meetings and he's energized and saying how recognized we are. But it was the first time that I think got to experience it for myself, where the director of CalICH, the California's Interagency Council on Homelessness, the state entity responsible, like we are, for coordinating efforts, came up to me and said, you're from Riverside County. We want to go down there and schedule a visit. You guys are doing amazing work and we want it replicated. So, I have the same energy Greg has, because I've seen proof that we are being recognized. So those are my announcements. Congratulations, and thank you all, our board and our continuum of care, for not shying away from providing us with feedback. I want you to know we take it personal. We do, because we care so deeply about this work, and you guys are influencing our day-to-day. And actually, since our newest team members are here, I do want to recognize them. We are growing, and we have Damaris, Mireya, and Annabelle, who are with our continuum of care team. It was very important for them to join the meeting today. They wanted to meet with you, the board, learn more about this work. And I know, and they were taking lots of notes. And as they, do project management and work with our nonprofits to provide technical assistance, you bet that they are going to take your ideas and make sure that they go into fruition. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you. That's why you were paying so close attention. Your assignments. Okay, Councilmember Edwards.
Thank you. It's been an amazing week on Riverside City Council, and so I wanted to share with my colleagues on the dais and also with those attending the meeting today 2 great announcements that happened just this last Tuesday. The first is that Riverside City Council has been looking at how to spend our ARPA money, as many organizations are. And we were able to approve a historic allocation of $2.8 million for our nonprofits from our ARPA funding, but not just $2.8 million for nonprofits. We really challenged ourselves to think about how to take this one-time funding and turn it into a perpetual fund for nonprofits, because we know that the needs are ongoing. And so what we've done is we've approved moving forward with a partnership with the Inland Empire Community Foundation to create the Nonprofit Resilience Fund that would provide loans. So it's a revolving loan fund for nonprofits of all sizes that are in the city of Riverside or serving residents in the city of Riverside. And these loans would provide for expenses that are usually very hard to find grants for, such as purchasing a building, making renovations in a building. It would provide bridge loans for working capital, and also would be a way to move money quickly when an urgent idea comes forward. And again, this is more than just a one-time grant. This is money that will serve the community over and over and over again. And we're hoping that we'll find other partners to even join alongside to make the fund even bigger and even better. So I'm just so thrilled to announce that we have made the first step in creating this Nonprofit Resilience Fund, and next steps, a contract will come forward with the Inland Empire Community Foundation and the City of Riverside in 90 to 120 days. And we're hoping that we can be making our first loans by the end of the year or early in 2025. So I'd love to share more with you about how we built it and what we're hoping going forward and how it could be replicated around our region. Additionally, that was just the afternoon session, because then in the evening, we created the City of Riverside's Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which would take some PLHA funding, would allow us to be able to apply for pro-housing funding from the state. And then in addition, we as a city decided to tag 50% of the proceeds of the sales of surplus land to go toward this fund for affordable housing so that we can help get affordable housing projects off the ground. And this fund would be open for nonprofit housing developers, affordable housing developers, and market rate housing developers if they commit to at least 10% of the units being affordable. So exciting news.
Thank you. That is fantastic news. Congratulations. And I was going to call on you if you did not raise your hand. So Lieutenant Hutchinson, please.
Absolutely. So the City of Palm Springs is excited to announce the opening of the Palm Springs Navigation Center that will currently be able to service 55 bodies nightly. That's only temporarily until June, which will add another 80 bed capacity to the location. If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful facility. It's going to be even better here in the coming months when it's finished. And again, full wraparound services, recuperative care, all sorts of things are going to be offered at this facility. So we're very much looking forward to it. We are seeing an increase daily. We had 41 of the 55 filled last night. The first week, I think we were only in the 20s. So we've been able to, steadily increase that and hopefully to get those numbers full. It is about time, yes. So thank you to all of those, the county, CoC, everybody involved that's been helping with the funding of this. This is a $30 or $40 million project. So this is taking a lot of blood, sweat, and tears between everybody. And hopefully this is going to be something very exciting for our community.
Congratulations.
And I just want to add that I applaud the city leaders for taking this bold action for something that is long overdue. I applaud the police department for the great work that they're doing and really opening up for the city to say that it's okay to do this. So I applaud you. And I also want to recognize Greg Rodriguez, who was mentioned several times in the presentation for his hard work. And really, it's great to have the leadership. It's great to have the community support, but if the people that are doing the work are not up to it, it's not going to get done. So Greg, you were up to it. Thank you so much for all your work. And is there any other member of the board that has any announcements? Carol.
Yes. Faith in Action is holding a free 6-week life skills program that I wanted to let you all know about. We're taking applications or taking interest from any other nonprofit or group that would like to participate. We're offering community members will be the ones that come in and do the training based on a curriculum that we've developed. And we're developing this mostly for homeless individuals or at risk of being homeless. And we're opening up to anybody. It's free. And I just wanted you to all know about it.
Thank you.
All the
Carol.
information's on the flyer.
Thank you for sharing that. Any other board member? Okay, one other request from Tanya is to do not run away so quickly. Please stay for a little bit. She wants to take a picture of the board. So that's a request we won't hold you up too long. Everyone, thank you so much for making the trip out here and for taking the time to be really informed and to contribute your questions and your comments. Made, I think, good decisions today. So everyone take care. Have a great day.
Yes, please. It'll be quick. I know you guys probably.